Lost Circus on AMMINDEX.
Every plan has a weakness. Every storm has
Buddy, you got the dude here with American Metal Magazine, and I have an amazing band, Lost Circus, with me right here on the meeting. Hey, everybody, let's say hello.
Good morning. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, excellent. This is an amazing little band. I've been listening to them this afternoon and checking out some videos and stuff like that. They're incredible. You guys are out of Nashville, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Nashville, Tennessee, man. I really had the question when I was looking at your bio. What is the scene like up there right now in the heavy metal? I mean, everybody, says, well, in Nashville, it's country music, but what about the metal scene up there? How's that going?
There's a lot of everything here. The
Yeah,
metal
a
scene,
lot of variety.
there's a lot of tribute stuff going on right now. Original rock's a little down there, but metal,
Hmm.
yeah, the tribute bands are all over the place. So, and that's fun.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of very talented bands and players and singers, and it's not a scene like people would think like LA in the 80s or something like that, but there's a lot of talent here, and of course you're just competing against all the other things that are in Nashville, so that's why so many bands like get outside of Nashville and play elsewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, right? So, is there a place up there that's really kind of happening for independent bands, or even a larger venue for cover bands that's really happening up there right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's some places around town, but the hot spot changes constantly. So there's not really a hot spot for the stuff we do.
The Cowan, the Basement East,
Uh-huh.
still Exodus still has shows,
There's so many,
but yeah,
there's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know other than everybody wants to play at the Exodus.
yeah.
The Boulevard
You
Bowl
know-
is a great place. That's usually touring acts.
That's
Something
awesome. Right on. I know there used to be a little place called the Bluebird Cafe. Is that, you guys ever hear that before? It's still there, isn't it? That's a little writer's spot. Yeah. You never know who will walk in the door down there. But let's talk about you guys. So, what's going on? Are you guys in the studio right now working? What's going on with the music, man? What's happening with that?
Here tonight, working on some of the remaining songs we have to record for this album. We've got 5 done already. We've released 2 singles for the kind of in between. We did the cover of Silent Running, and then, as you know, also the song and video for Uninvited.
Yeah, I saw that. That was great, by the way. Awesome.
Yeah, we've got 5 songs done, and we've got 7 or 8 more that we're figuring out which ones are going to be included on the album, but we're just fleshing those out now. Going to get those tracked.
So, is this your first album, or do you have another album that you've already released previously?
This is the first one.
The first one.
One that you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, the one I have. Are you guys recently formed, or have you been performing together for a while? What's the back history of the band?
I think I started with, it was back in 2019, and then we kind of all collectively came together.
Yeah.
2020, and we had plenty of time to practice and get things going. Then we got the album out in 2021.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
End of 21.
end of 21.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
so we just been doing that, trying out.
Yeah.
This is what I'd like to know is, how does that work for you guys in the studio? I think everybody gets to the creative process differently. When you guys work, do you go in with a set of lyrics, a poem book per se, and then try to marry that up with the melodies or the compositions that you're working on? Or is it the other way around? How do you guys do that? And who's the lyricist, the main lyricist in the band?
I write the lyrics because these guys are dumb.
Well, they've got you, man. That's good.
Ideas together, and we usually have the song 100% before we go into the studio.
Yeah.
So
We
everybody
like to play it a little bit, you know, let some
Yeah.
happy accidents happen where you go, hey,
Mhm.
what was that you played? I like that. You know, give it time to grow, especially,
Right.
you know, the first album, we had all the time in the world to write it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now we know we want to do a second album. And you may have heard of this sophomore jinx where bands, they go in and they just hash out an album real quick and they never really took time to let the
Mhm.
songs develop and find out what the
Yeah.
song should be. So that's what we're trying to do is, you know, get the songs under our belt where we can play it enough to where we go, okay, now it's ready.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense, and what I'm hearing is a really polished product. That's the best way I can really describe it. I mean, there's great clean riffs, and the bass is amazing, man. And some of the parts, dude, you kill it, brother. I'm telling you, man. I was like, yeah, I'm just bopping my head, going, "That's it, man." And so it's really cool, that you guys got to that. Yeah. So let me ask you, what are some of the inspirations, man? What started you on the path of being in a rock and roll band? Like anybody want to shout out? It can be a band, it could be a person. What were those things that really got you to where you are today?
Well, just speaking for myself, I started back in the '80s doing, the cover stuff, and I was in a couple original bands. But I'm from the state of Maine originally.
Ah,
Nothing went on up there at that time. Everyone was moving to New York or L.A.
yeah.
when I was pick up and move. I was still I was, I guess, '87. I was just graduating high school, so I wasn't really old enough to hit that middle wave of the early '80s and the
Yeah.
'80s. So, but my influences are Judas Priest,
Nice.
Queensryche, anybody
Yeah.
with a good singer. But this is my favorite band because
Yeah.
the lyrics are just,
Megadeth. If you're listening on the radio, Megadeth. Man, those are great bands to look up to and to play at. Do you think it's affected your style and really shaped the way that you play?
100%. I also do.
Yeah, same.
I started here in '97 to do country because I like all kinds of music. No, I
Sure,
take
me
that
too.
back.
Right.
Country.
Yeah.
Hate the rest of it. Can't stand any. No. But anyway, I moved down here and did some songwriting. Did that for about 10 years, and then got jaded. Everything was changing. It was just really weird
Hmm.
time. In the 2006, 2007. And then I got remarried, and my wife talked me back into heavy metal. So I started doing some cover stuff for the next few years. And then
Well,
here we
and the
are.
wife influenced you to get back into heavy metal. I have to say that's a little unusual. I don't think I've heard that before, but that's good though, man. Yeah. She's like, "You're good at that, right?" And that was it.
Yep, something like that. Yeah, don't let me hog all the time. You guys are allowed to speak now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
No,
else you got?
I started playing when I was about 13. Buddy of mine started playing guitar, and I was like, "Dude, let's start a band." He goes, "Well, you don't play anything." I was like, I'll figure it out." And so I picked it up, and then, of course, once I picked it up, I realized how cool of an instrument it was, and really
Yeah.
dove in. Did jazz band in high school and rock bands, and played
Mhm.
all through college and all that. And so once I got done with everything there, like all of us, we've just been in and out of bands for the past 20 years or more. And so yeah, I mean, metal's hard rock and metal's definitely in my soul. I like he said, I like a little bit of everything, but that's definitely what drives me the most. So
Yeah, I think there's something about metal and just hard rock in general. It's the energy, man. It's the emotion, maybe that you can put into it, man. And I don't think you can get all of that in some places. And I think the way that you guys are able to pull it together, it's a hard sound, but it's also got a lot of groove to it. The hooks are clean, the lead comes through. It's just a very great product. If you're out there, you really need to check these guys out. You can go to AmericanMetalMagazine.com and check out the AMMINDEX links to this band and be able to follow them and check out more about where you can listen to their music and play it and pick it up and purchase, which is very important to support the local bands. So who else we got for influences? I don't think we've heard from maybe Tom.
I'm by far the oldest dude in this band. So
All right.
back
Yeah.
to
Wisdom.
some before Chadwick down there was born. Chad's the baby. But the thing about influences, and I think one of the sort of the common threads that you'll find amongst the members of Lost Circus is if we create our top five, there's at least two in everybody's top five that's
Mhm.
common across the board, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
could be Queensryche, could be Judas Priest. Um, my influences go back as far as the first poster on my wall when I was probably 12 was Kiss Alive.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and so that was an early influence just because and if you when you get a chance to come see Lost Circus, you'll see that it's actually five guys. We're missing one tonight.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
on stage giving you a show. We're all
Yeah.
about creating a performance, that
Mhm.
people remember visually as much as they will the content and context of the songs that we're doing.
Yes.
So, I've always been attracted to bands that gave a performance. It could be
Mhm.
anything from Kiss to Queen
Right.
to um, Queensryche, Priest, of course,
Mhm.
Rush,
Mhm.
all of whom had phenomenal drummers. My deepest influence, drumming wise, is Tommy Aldridge,
Mhm.
and Tommy's been White Snake, Pat Travers band,
Right.
and a variety of Ozzy, a variety of other things. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where my influence lies.
Yeah, man, and that's just awesome. And I think you can really pick that out when you listen to your material, that it's there, those really driven drums. It just comes through to me, definitely influenced by some great bands there. So let me ask you then, fellas, what if tomorrow everything went great, man? You just the albums were selling, and the demand was happening. Where do you see yourself going, man? Would you be ready to tour, or is it just stay in and
Back to
continue to
back.
work in the album? Do you think you're ready to get out?
Oh yeah.
You bet,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
None of us are spring chickens,
Right.
So um, success for Lost Circus would
Yeah.
be bucket list material, I think, for all of us, speaking for
Right.
all the guys.
Mhm.
So the opportunity for us to jump on a plane and go to Europe and play some
Yeah.
festivals,
Right.
go to other places on the planet where our style of music is a little more widely received.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
that's true. Yeah.
because we're sort of fighting an uphill battle here in the states
Mhm.
with our music,
Mhm.
whereas South Pacific, Australia, Japan, those markets are still digging heavy music.
Yeah.
It
Right.
was crazy. We first put our album out, let's say 3 years ago, and it started to get a little bit of notice, and people were, we could go on and track the metrics of where people were streaming from.
Mhm.
We were in like top 10 in Russia.
All right, man. That's killer though,
Like
That's
that.
good.
And
Yeah.
we don't have a marketing machine behind us.
Uh-huh.
The internet doing its thing, and
Mhm.
somehow or another, we wound up on
You
somebody's
you get
playlist.
out there. Well, one of the best things about doing this, since I started American Metal Magazine, we're a relatively new publication, but we've really reached out all the way across the world. Like you say, I had a bad Simple Stone from Australia reach out to those guys. That was amazing because we talked about what the scene was and how it was out there and what's going on. And you're right, the metal and the harder rock is really pretty prevalent in all corners of the world, man. And that gives me hope, right? That gives the dude hope that things will get better and better. And in fact, in different areas of the U.S. that I've talked to, in Central Florida here and other areas, that it seems to be on a little bit of an upswing. There does seem to be a little momentum, man. Fans are getting out. Bands, in my opinion, just continue to get better and better. And I'm really privileged, to be honest with you, to talk to these guys right here, because they're in that new echelon of great bands, man. You really are. You stand out, boys. And the fact that you're from Nashville, well, I love that even better. Yeah. So let me ask you then, we're going to turn a corner here. So we talked about if everything went good. So what do you think some of those struggles are, man? What's holding you back? Do you think the hardest thing that you got to overcome as a band? Of course, we know money, that's obvious, and money will help. But are there other things that you feel like you could either need or that's holding you back from really getting to where you want to go?
I think the biggest thing, like I used to work in a record store in college, and on Tuesdays would be all the new releases. And
Yeah.
on average, 80 major releases per week. So
Yeah.
that was your competition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many thousands of new songs are posted every day,
Right.
right? Even if you like a band, even if you use Shazam to identify some song that you like, do
Mm-hmm.
you remember it? Do you go back to it?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. You hear a song in passing, you might have loved that band and you'll never know it because you didn't figure out who it was or you never hear it again. There
Mm-hmm.
is great thing about technology is it's become so cheap anybody can do it. The bad thing about
Yeah.
technology is everybody can do it. So
Yeah,
there's
you're
just
absolutely right.
right of all standards. I mean, nowadays somebody can get our music the same exact way they can get Metallica, right?
Yeah.
There's no difference. They don't have to go to a local record store and go, oh, there's Metallica, but Lost Circus isn't there. No, with the
Mm-hmm.
internet, everybody's equal. So
Mm-hmm.
while there is promotion, which is a huge thing, you've got to get in front of people's faces. I
Yeah.
mean, there's people sitting in their bedroom that play the right guitar riff or sing the right song at just the right moment, and it hits and it gets out there. But the
Yeah.
other thing every band and every artist is up against is that with the internet and with it just being a deluge of new songs and new artists, and it's all about what's new, not what's good, right? You don't
Mm-hmm.
have that time to grow. It
Mm-hmm.
seems like it's all about what's new,
Yeah.
right? So
Flash in the pan.
somebody growing over time, it's you have to hit right now. So you might have an amazing, great album, but if people can't find it or don't hear it, what can you do about it? So I think the biggest thing is finding that niche, whether it be getting onto a video game or in a movie, or just somebody happens to mention you that has so many followers, or somebody in a big band likes you.
Who's this?
We lost your audio. Okay,
It's back.
repeat
That's
there
I
you are.
got you. There we go. Sorry about that. It's okay. I'm going to edit out that in a few minutes. We're just going to pick up here. Hold on. Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And try to speak just a little bit louder if you can. Okay. We're still recording, but like I said, I'm going to edit that out. All right.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. It was good, but it just it died there. Hold
You
on
got
one
it.
second. Yeah. Make sure everything's happening right here. Technology, right? We're just talking about that.
Only good when it works, man.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Okay, I think we're back up and running. So I'm just going to rephrase that question. We'll pick it up. So we're talking about What are some of those struggles that you guys have and moving forward? I mean, we all want to get there, but there's so many things that really hold you back. And I'm not just talking about money, there's other things. What do you think some of those big challenges are for a band these days?
Action.
Well, I think the biggest thing is just the competition of the internet and everything that's out there.
Yeah.
Um, I mentioned that I had worked at a record store, and
Mhm.
we were used to every Tuesday having 80 new releases come out. And
Yeah.
that was competition. And you would take the old CDs or cassettes or whatever off the shelf and make rooms for new ones. And the record companies would tell you what they want to push, and you would put up certain displays at the front of the store, certain posters on the wall. And that's what everybody had to choose from.
Right.
Whereas every day, easily, I'm sure there's 8,000 new songs posted somewhere,
Hmm.
that everybody not only can pick from, but you've got to wade through it all just to find something you like. And then
Yep.
everybody has their nostalgia songs that they like from the past. So obviously you're going to spend a lot of your time listening to stuff that you already love. So
Hmm.
you're up against, every day there's technically more competition for everybody because you're competing
Yeah.
for, and no matter what you like, you can only listen to so many songs in a day.
Yep.
So I think the biggest thing that you're up against is exposure and cutting through the noise
Hmm.
and being something that's good, not just something that's new,
Yes.
because everything's sound bites in 15 seconds or 30 seconds of this.
Hmm.
And people can do some little riff or some song or a part of a song and have millions of views. And you work your heart out to do an album or a video. And you're like, hey, thanks for watching, mom.
Count them on pants.
Yeah. I totally get that, man. That's frustrating right there, right? Yeah.
Like I'm sure in podcasts, how
Yeah.
many people do a podcast? Well, if you have a microphone and a computer, you can do it. How do you cut
Sure.
through the noise? How do you get somebody to watch and watch it
Yeah.
again and tell
Yes.
people about it? So all we
Right.
can do is do what we love, put it out there, the highest quality that we can, where we're proud
Yep.
of it, we love it, and hope that a couple other people feel the same way.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with all of that. It's there's so much background noise in music today, and I've got a lot of DJ friends, and we talk about how difficult it is to just find the better bands. That it's not that they're not getting the better bands and the better music, and what it is you have a lot of bands that are great, really great, and then you have some bands that are really good and they sound pretty good, and there's a lot of that. And then you get bands that are really bad. But the problem is the DJ or the exec or whoever, even the fan, has to wade through all of those unpleasantries to get to the cream of the crop. And one of the things that we try to do at American Metal Magazine is really weed through those. And we're fortunate because what I started to do is talk to DJs about that same problem and how do we get through that. And what it gets down to is a lot of the DJs are sending me their best bands. And that's how you guys are on the show. And that's what's making everything work for American Metal Magazine is the fact that we're getting to the cream of the crop, you know, and that's great. And that's what we need as an industry, not just the bands, but we need to weed out all that background noise. So I totally feel your pain, man. It's the same thing as a podcast or any other thing, but that's the biggest thing, man. But maintain the quality, I guess, is the point here. Who do you think has really helped you recently um, get a little momentum? Because it feels like you guys got a little momentum going right now, man.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I've been really privileged to work with Bisto Blanco,
Mhm.
the band Bisto Blanco, which is made of Chuck Garrick, who plays with Alice Cooper, but then
Oh,
the
wow.
singers in the band is Calico Cooper, his daughter.
Yeah.
And so I've been really honored to work with them now for a number of years. And so when we were doing Uninvited, I went to her, said, "Hey, I've got this idea. What do you think about doing the video?" Because she's produced and edited and directed a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
And so she got on board, and it was huge. I mean, she made all the
Wow.
difference in the world of
Yeah.
how that video came out. So that video alone has really helped, bring us some notoriety.
Yeah.
We opened for Accept on a show, and that helped. People came that had no idea who we were,
Yes.
and got the push from that. So I mean, it's just friends. I mean, being lucky that somebody shared our video or shared a song, and
Mm.
somehow it's caught on recently. And then of course with Rock Rage Records, they've believed in us and put us down in Daytona a few times, and that's helped spread the word. So
Awesome.
it's kind of happening at one time. So
Curtain call
Yeah.
taking us.
That's great, guys. Yeah. Well, you get the right people behind you and you take the professional attitude in the band, and that's very important. Then, of course, you have the need for real talent. And so congratulations, guys, because I can't help but feel like you have all those factors.
thank you for playing a part in it, because you believe in us enough and liking what we're doing
Sure.
just to give us the time. I mean, that helps us immensely, and we appreciate it.
Right. Well, it's a two-way street, man. Everybody in this business can help each other. That's really what I think when I started, because I'm a musician too. I play guitar and I sing in my band, and I think that helps me relate to some of the struggles and things it takes to do this business and to love it the way that I love it, and I know the way that you guys love it, man. It was
These bands, like all the other bands that we are associated with around here in Nashville, help each other out. Give a positive,
Yeah.
remark, say something, help push stuff. We try to do that as well.
yes,
But a lot of they like to keep everything right here. And
yeah.
it's
You get a
better
lot
if
of that.
you just get people to help each other out and push stuff like you're.
Yeah. And I think I hope that we can create more of a union sort of attitude in music. And I hope that the AMM can really spearhead that. That's really what I'd like to see come out of my time in the music, man, is that getting together and sharing information, sharing resources with DJs and the bands alike in venues. And I think there's a big disconnect. A lot of it is a big disconnect, and it's because of, just like you say, all that background noise. You just can't. You got a great band that's right there shouting, but you can't hear it. And so I think your guys are making the right steps. That you've got great music, and I think it's only a matter of time to keep on swinging. You're definitely going to get it. Is there anybody in your family like you'd like to shout out to? Is there somebody that started you in the music business, or that was musically in your life, young or as a family member?
My folks didn't want me to play music at all. So
Yeah, sometimes that's okay though, man. It's
yeah,
an anti-musician can help
go
sometimes.
vote, then I guess it was my choice.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, no, there's literally no musical history
yeah.
in my family tree, so to
Right.
speak. I'm not a musician, I'm a drummer. So
Well, yeah, you're a drummer, man, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just kidding out there.
I was fortunate enough. Unfortunately, my mom passed a couple of years ago, but
Oh yeah,
she really is like instilled everything musical that I have.
yeah,
And even when I was growing up, as a kid, before I ever touched an instrument of my own, I've got pictures of me sitting with earmuffs between two guitar amps in our living room while her band
nice.
practiced. And she used to sing. She did some singing with the bands and did background and lead vocals and did your Stevie Nicks tambourine stuff. And then she played a little bit of acoustic guitar too. But so I was fortunate to have her, kind of help mold my views of music in general. And then
Beautiful. Yeah.
Dad, he can't carry a tune in the bucket, but he bought me my first bass. So
Well, somebody's got to be the financier, man.
yeah, he cracks up I mean, even to this day, he's like, I gave you about 6 weeks. I figured that thing would be in the back of the closet. He said, here you are,
Here you
30
are.
years later, still doing it. So
Yeah, yeah. If my dad came around, he'd be like, "Yeah, here you are, 40 years later, still with a guitar in your hand."
My story's pretty simple. My dad was we always had music on, Elvis, George
Yeah,
Jones,
man.
stuff
King.
back in the 70s growing up. We
Yeah.
had an 8-track player in the house. There was something always playing all the time. My dad plays a little guitar and he would sing
Yeah.
in the car. He'd piss my mom off. And she couldn't sing. She wanted to sing. My dad could actually kind of sing. My mom couldn't sing with the crap, but she wanted
Yeah.
to. But that's it. I just did band throughout high school.
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, my parents were always very supportive. My mom, I know she took piano lessons when she was young, but it didn't go anywhere. But
Mhm.
they always loved music. I remember everywhere we went, they always had music playing in the car. Um, there's pictures of me as a baby with, headphones on and listening to reel to reel or whatever my dad had going on. And I remember he had this reverb unit that he was so proud of that he could run all this music to and listen to this and it would echo and he had quadraphonic sound and all that. And
Nice.
so they didn't play, but there had to be some love of music in there that was passed on.
Yeah.
And they supported me through high school playing saxophone. Then I decided I want to play keyboard, so they bought me a keyboard. And then I
Mhm.
realized playing keyboard you can't get out in front of the stage. So then I said, "Hey, what about a guitar?" And then
Right.
they got me. And
And ever since, there you go. Well, hey, listen, fellas, I've got to cut this off, but man, it has been great talking to you guys. This is Lost Circus, and man, they are the shizzle, and you need to check them out because I'm telling you, man, they got a sound. It's driven. It's not like anything that I've heard in a while. And that's a lot because I hear a lot of stuff, and you guys really hit it out of the ballpark. I know that there's links and stuff like that for music that they have available and some stuff that's up and coming. So please stay tuned. Check them out at AmericanMetalMagazine.com and follow them. You can get to their links so you can follow their website and buy their music. And be sure to support your local music always, man. So thanks a lot, fellas. And could I get a big go AM here at the end? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go AM!